Good morning, students. Good morning to all. Last day we have studied about the advantages and disadvantages of the cooperative organizations. So, I gave the same portions as your study portions. So, tomorrow also just we will remind what we have studied on last class and we will go to the new concepts. So, already we have studied about the advantages and disadvantages of the cooperative organizations, and I think it was very easy, so there is no need to just remind that. I believe you can study it. So now just we will go to the next concept, the types of cooperatives. So how many kinds of the cooperative organizations are existing in our nation is? The 5 types of the cooperative organizations are existing in our nations. First one is consumer cooperatives. So the consumer cooperatives are organized by the consumers that want to achieve better price or quality in the goods or services they purchase. So normally the consumers want to purchase any of the commodities within the reasonable or cheap prices. But if any of the commodities is going to sell in the multinational companies or any of the other companies, means the price will be higher. So to reducing or getting the all commodities with the cheap price, so the consumers will create one of the cooperative organizations that is called consumer cooperatives. In contrast to traditional retail stores or service providers, a consumer cooperative exists to deliver goods or services rather than its maximum profit from the selling those goods or services. So normally when we are going to purchase any of the commodities in other sellers which has produced in other giant stock companies or multinational companies, so the price may be higher. They also supply essential commodities through public distribution system. So nationally, the most widely used cooperative form is the credit union with some 19 million members credit union assets. So the credit union assets have grown 100. So normally the government also will be providing more financial abilities or financial assistance to creating the consumer cooperatives. So the credit unions are essentially cooperatives of people that use banking services. So those who are using the banking services for providing the loans, also these consumer cooperative organizations are providing. Next, producer cooperatives. So the producer cooperatives are established and operated by the producers. So all the producers join together and they will produce any of the commodities jointly, or otherwise they will produce in any of the place and they will bring in the same places. So they are organized to process, market and distribute their own products. So many producers may be produce the different type of the commodities, but all the commodities will be arranged within the same place and they will doing the different process. The organized the process and the marketing and the distributing also will be owned by their products. So this producer cooperative organization helps lessen cost and strengths in each area with a mutual benefit to each producers. So when they are producing all type of the commodities within the producers cooperative organizations, the production cost also will be less. So normally we can see the cooperative weaver societies and cooperative carpenting units and cooperative match factories and etc. Next, marketing cooperatives. So the cooperative marketing societies are association of small producers formed for the purpose of marketing their produce. Suppose already we have studied, so the small scale industries or the cottage industries are there, and whenever there is no possibilities to establish the cottage industries, the small scale producers will come and produce any of the commodities from here. And the marketing cooperatives perform certain marketing functions such as grading, warehousing, advertising, etc. So whatever things is needed to selling that commodities by produced by the marketing cooperatives, they will doing. Next, Credit cooperatives. So cooperative credit societies are those formed for the purpose of providing short-term financial help to their members. So normally, if any of the entrepreneur or even any of the single individual consumer also will be in need of borrowing the money, that is the financial assistance. So any of the cooperative organizations must be needed to providing the money. So because of this providing the financial facilities only, so the credit cooperatives was formed. Next, housing cooperatives. The housing cooperatives societies are meant to provide residential accommodations to their members on ownership basis or then rent. Some of the peoples will join together and they will purchase any of the land and they will build any of the home, and this home will be going to in the hands of their member itself. So they have to assigning the required fund at first. After that they will build the house and every peoples or the every members will be get the housing. Next, cooperative farming societies. So when various farmers in a village their land together and agree to treat the pooled piece of land as one big farm for the purpose of cultivations. So normally, if you are considering any of the rural peoples or the villages peoples always having the little amount of the land. When they are using the small piece of land, they can't produce more crops. So because of that, so all the poor villagers join their small piece of land as a big land. After that, they will cultivate any of the crops. So when they are doing like so, they can earn more income. Okay, students. So these types of cooperative banks is not very so important like that. So the 5 types of the cooperative organizations are there: the consumer cooperatives, producer cooperatives, marketing cooperatives, credit cooperatives, housing cooperatives, and the cooperative farming societies. When we are seeing this name itself, we can understand for what purposes this cooperative organization was formed. So and till that our chapter is over, then we will go to the next chapter. So our next chapter, the 8th chapter is multinational corporations. So this is also one type of the business organizations. A multinational company is one which is incorporated in one country. This country is called as the home country, but whose operation extend beyond the home country and which carries on business in other countries. So wherever the branches companies are established, the branches countries are called as a host countries in addition to the home countries. For example, if any of the Indian entrepreneurs are establishing any of the industries in this India, and if they are extending their business organizations beyond the India or all over the world, this is called multinational companies. The multinational company must be emphasized that the headquarters of multinational companies are located in the home country. So normally if you are established the multinational companies, that is the branches companies in throughout the world. So their home countries only has to located as a headquarters. So here some of the advantages are there. In these multinational companies, some of the advantages are there. So what are the advantages are there in this multinational company mean? First, low cost labor. So multinational companies set up their facilities in low cost countries and to produce goods and services at lower cost. So it gains cost advantages and sells its products and services of good quality at low cost. So normally the multinational companies will be established their branch which has low cost labor. So when they are arranging the low cost labor, they can produce more commodities and the price of that product also will be very low. So this is not available to the smaller companies which operates at a regional level. So wherever the branches companies are established in this regional level, it will not be applicable. Next, quality products. So the resource, experience and expertise of multinational companies in the sphere of research and development enables the host country to establish its research and development system. So by using the more skilled persons and talented persons and by establishing the research and development, they can bring in the more innovatives on the existing products. And not only that, they can able to produce the quality products. So not only that, by having the competitions among the multinational companies, every multinational companies will able to produce any of the commodities with high quality. So all the peoples throughout the world can able to get the quality products. Next, proper use of idle resources. So normally the multinational companies will be used to all the idle resources as in the optimum ways. Because the multinational companies has more technical applications or applicables. So by using the modern technicals, so it will be used to the idle resources in the proper ways. Because of their advanced technical knowledge, the multinational companies are in a position to properly utilize the idle physical and human resources of the host countries. So not only the machineries, so it will be creating the more employment opportunity. And wherever the ideal persons or ideal human resources are there, the ideal human resources are going to use in the optimum ways. Next, improvement in balance of payment positions. So the multinational companies help the host countries to increase their exports, because whenever they are producing in all over the world, so the company, the owner or the organizer of the multinational companies will invest to increasing the export of the host countries only. As such, they help the host country to improve upon the balance of payment positions. So whenever we can increasing the overproductions or the supply of product, so we can increasing our balance of payment, because the export will be more in the host countries. Next, technical development. So the multinational companies carry the advantages of technical development in 10 host countries. In fact, the multinational companies are vehicle for the transference of technical development from one country to another countries. Normally, the host countries or the multinational companies always transferring the technical from one countries to another countries. Mostly the developing countries to underdeveloping countries, or the developed countries to developing countries. Okay, so because of that, all the labors also will be able to known as using the technical, new arrival of the technical. So because of multinational companies, the poor host countries also begin to the developed technically. Next, managerial development. So the multinational companies employs latest management techniques. So the people also employed by the multinational companies do a lot of research in management. So the multinational companies only always has the power and the position to bringing the management techniques, and it will be provided to all employees to do a lot of research in management. In a way, they help to professionalize management along latest line of management theory and practice. This leads to managerial development in host countries also. Next, end of local monopolies. Already we have studied the meaning of monopolies. Monopolies mean if any of the entrepreneur or if any of the producers are producing any of the commodities, and if they having the patent right to produce that commodities, he will become as a monopolies. But by the way of the advantages of multinational companies. So the local monopolies will come to an end because the multinational companies are establishing throughout the world in their branch, and they can able to produce the same commodities what is produced by the monopolies, and he will fixing the low price than the product, the price of the commodities produced by the monopolies. Next, improvement in living standard. So by providing super quality products and the services, multinational company helps to improve the standard of living of people of host countries. So whenever the multinational companies are going to take more effort to improve the standard of living of the peoples, as per the effort, the living standard of the people in the host countries will really improve. Next, promotion of international brotherhood. So the multinational companies integrate the economies of various nations with the world economy, because the multinational companies only will export the human resource and the other resources also, and the multinational companies will create the more brotherhood, that is the unity among the nations. So through their international dealings, multinational companies promote international brotherhood and the culture, and it will be create the way for world peace and prosperities. Because on the reason of the multinational companies, every entrepreneurs also will transfer from one place to another of the nations, and they will moving from one place to another of the place, and their product also will be satisfied the peoples spread out throughout the world. So the no nations will be in need of making the quarrel with another nations. So automatically the brotherhood of the international level will be promoted. Next, disadvantages of multinational companies. So what are the disadvantages are there here means, even though there is more advantages in these multinational companies, some of the disadvantages also will be created by the multinational companies. First one is the danger for domestic industries. How the multinational companies will become as dangerous to the domestic industries mean. The multinational companies, because of their vast economic power, pose a danger to domestic industries. Because already we have studied it can able to establish throughout the world. So normally if the branches of one multinational company is going to establish in local countries or in one of the other countries, the domestic industries will be spoiled, because what product is produced by the domestic industries will be used by the foreign countries also, foreign multinational company also. So the multinational companies can easily produce any of the commodities already produced by the domestic industries, and it will be fixing the low price, and the people also will be want to purchasing the commodity produced by the multinational companies. Okay, so in course of time the domestic industries will be fell down. So the many domestic industries have to wind up as a result of threat from multinational companies. Thus, multinational companies give a setback to the economic growth of host countries. Next, transfer of outdated technology. So we have studied that technological will be transferring from one nation to another of the nations. But we have to note one thing. So which type of the technology is moving from one nation to another of the nations mean? The outdated technology only will be transferring from developed nation to developing nations. So the outdated technologies will be used not so much. So it will be used only for increasing our low ratio of the productivity. So while multinational companies transfer outdated technology to host nations, it serves no purpose. Next, no benefit to poor peoples. So multinational companies produce only those things which are used by the rich. So normally the multinational companies will be producing the luxuries and comfortable commodities. But this luxury commodities and the comfortable commodities will be going to consumed only by the rich peoples. So the poor peoples cannot able to purchasing the power produced by the multinational company. Therefore, poor people of host countries do not get generally any benefit out of multinational companies. Next, danger to independence. So initially, multinational companies help the government of the host country in a number of ways, and then gradually start interfering in the political affairs of the host countries. Normally, the multinational companies will be helpful more to the government in beginning. After that, if the multinational companies got some of the reputations, it will start out to intervene to the government politics. So there is then all implicit danger to the independence of the host countries in the long run. So in course of time, the long in course of time, in course of time, the multinational companies will be intervened to the government. Next, deprivation of job opportunity of local peoples. So the multinational companies may not generate job opportunities to the people of home countries. Normally, the multinational companies will be required the skillful persons and the multinational companies only. So normally, the job opportunity of the local people will be deprived their job opportunity, because even if they are established the company in these coast countries, they will arrange the skillful persons only. Suppose in this local peoples doesn't have the skillful means, so he will deprivate their job opportunity. Next, misuse of mighty status. So multinational companies are powerful economic entities. They can afford to bear losses for a long while in the hope of earning huge profits. Once they have entered local competitions and achieved monopoly. So normally first it will come and stop the local monopolist. After that, in course of time, so the multinational company itself will become as a monopolistic one, because after deprivations of job opportunities in these local peoples and collapse the domestic industries, the multinational companies only will be able to survive in the business world. So when they are doing like so in course of time, so the multinational companies can able to become as the monopolist. Next, careless exploitation of natural resources. The multinational companies tend to use the natural resources of the host country carelessly, because by producing more commodities, it will demand more resources. So sometimes it has the chance to using the natural resources in the optimum level, but in the most of time it will be used the natural resources as carelessly. Carelessly means it will be started to exploit the natural resources in the host countries. Next, the selfish promotion of alien culture. The multinational companies tend to promote alien culture in host country to sell their product. So normally in our traditional culture nations will never want to consuming the product of the other nations. Suppose if any of the product is affected the human health, so the multinational companies can able to produce and it will be sell. Next, neglect of industrial and economic growth. So an investment in host countries is more profitable. The multinational companies may neglect home countries and industrial and economical development. So normally an investment in host countries is more profitable. Multinational companies may neglect the home country's industrial and economical development, because it will always having the objectives of earning more profit from wherever it can be able to do. But when they are moving like so, sometimes it will be neglect the home country's industrial and economical development. Okay, students, if you have any doubt, please ask me. So it is very easy one. So the multinational companies, the advantages and the disadvantages of the multinational companies. When you are reading yourself also, you can easily understand. So I also didn't explain very elaborately. So if you have any doubt, please ask me. Thank you.